A grown man at a theme park. A giant mascot pulls off its head. The man breaks, sobbing in the arms of his lifelong hero. This happens to Dwayne Johnson everywhere. Here is the strange thing about the most famous man alive. People do not fall apart around him because he is huge. They do not cry because he is on a movie poster. They break because, again and again, he finds a way to make them the hero of the story. He is 6'5". He has sold out arenas and headlined some of the biggest films in the world, and he spends all of that doing something almost no one at his level does. He lowers himself. He becomes the waiter. He puts on the mascot suit. He hands you his own truck and tells you that you are the strong one. It is not the fame that breaks people. It is the moment they realize the giant came all this way just for them. Go back to the spring of 2015. A comedic internet reporter named Nick Mundy had spent 2 years doing deliberately terrible interviews with Johnson. A running joke. The worst questions on purpose. So when Mundy was invited to pitch one more bad idea to Johnson's team, he had no reason to expect anything different. Except the team had been told to reject every single pitch. And instead of a meeting, Mundy was walked into a ballroom. His fiancée was there. His family was there. And Johnson, who had quietly gotten ordained, was standing at the altar in a tuxedo, ready to marry them. The confusion on Mundy's face melted into pure disbelief. His childhood idol did not show up to the wedding. He ran it. December 2016. Johnson is doing a live segment and says he wants to give back to the troops. He walks up past the audience, into the production booth, to a staffer named Karina Kabalan. She is a veteran herself. Her husband Todd, an Air Force sergeant, had been deployed overseas for a year and a half. Johnson thanks her for her service. Then he tells her to turn around. Todd is standing right there in uniform. She collapses into him, sobbing on live television, while Jimmy Fallon, beside her, quietly wipes his eyes. A few months later, a honeymooning couple gets pulled into a photo at a theme park in Orlando. Michael Nevin had been a fan since he was 5 years old. 3 tattoos, a whole life of fandom. He poses next to 2 giant mascots with no idea that one of them is Dwayne Johnson. The heads come off, and Nevin does not cheer. He buckles. He grabs Johnson and shakes and cries the kind of cry grown men are taught to hide. Johnson said later that the loud, shaking, grown man cry is the best part of being famous. That same summer, a 10-year-old in Michigan named Jacob O'Connor found his 2-year-old brother face down in a swimming pool. Jacob pulled him out and started chest compressions. He knew how because 1 week earlier, he had watched Johnson perform CPR in one of his disaster movies. The toddler coughed up the water and lived. When Johnson heard a social media post was not enough, he flew the boy and his family out to a film set, looked him in the eye, and told him he had to shake the hand of a real-life hero. He needed that kid to understand that what he did in a backyard was bigger than anything on any screen. For 17 years, a man named Tanoi Reed had taken the hits meant for Dwayne Johnson. Broken bones, torn ligaments, severed tendons. Reed is also his cousin, and he had spent nearly 2 decades absorbing the punishment that keeps an action star looking invincible. In 2018, coming back from yet another injury, Reed was told he was filming a quick behind-the-scenes interview. Then a car pulled away to reveal a brand new truck wrapped in a red bow. Reed turned, understood, and wept on Johnson's shoulder. Johnson called him the backbone of the business. Blood, sweat, tears, and years. Then it goes quieter, and somehow heavier. A 3-year-old named Hiram Harris was fighting leukemia, made even harder by Down syndrome. He watched the same animated movie up to 10 times a day, drawing real strength from Johnson's character, a tattooed demigod. His favorite thing to say during treatment was, "I strong." So Johnson recorded him a video. No bombast, no catchphrases, just a soft voice telling Hiram he loved that character too, singing him a few lines from the film, reminding the boy that he was the one inspiring everyone else, including Dwayne. The deeper you go, the more you find him quietly closing loops from his own past. When Johnson was a homeless teenager, a wrestling manager named Bruno Lauer let him sleep in his tiny motel room. Years later, broke and starting out, Johnson slept in Lauer's trailer too. Lauer once handed a 15-year-old Johnson his last $40 to buy his first car. On New Year's Day in 2021, Johnson drove out to Mississippi and handed Lauer the keys to a brand new truck. The man who had nothing to gain from helping a teenager broke down on the hood of it 3 decades later, finally paid back. By 2023, the surprises were getting bigger and somehow more tender. A 12-year-old named Luna Perrone had been fighting a rare bone cancer for years. When it came back a third time, Johnson, who'd been quietly following her story, invited her family to a fancy hotel for lunch and apologized in advance that he was too busy to make it. He was lying. He was in the kitchen. He walked out carrying her plate of chicken tenders and fries, working as her waiter. Luna froze, mouth open, unable to speak. The most famous man in the building had made himself the help so a sick kid could be the guest of honor. That same summer, Johnson met a man whose story was his own story, told again. A fighter from Zimbabwe named Themba Garimbo had $7.49 to his name before his first big win, and instead of spending his fight money on himself, he had auctioned off his gear to build a clean water well for his village, then gone back to sleeping on a gym couch in Miami. Johnson had once had $7 to his name. Just 7. So he showed up, drove Garimbo to a fully furnished house, and put the keys in his hand. No more couch sleeping. Welcome home. And then there are the ones built entirely around grief. A 9-year-old boy in Britain named Jacob Newson lost his mother to cancer when he was 7. He turned that grief into motion. He climbed mountains in a full flight suit. He raised more than £150,000 for the hospice that had cared for her. He thought he was sitting down for a normal interview about his fundraising. Then, Johnson walked out from backstage and told the boy he had not come for an interview at all. He had come to meet him, to tell a grieving child to his face that his mother's memory and all that exhausting work had been seen. And as recently as last October, a 12-year-old named Luke Mortimer was visiting London. Years earlier, meningitis had cost him all 4 of his limbs. He did not let that stop him. He climbed a crag. He raised tens of thousands of pounds for other amputees. Back at his hotel, he ordered room service. The door opened, and Dwayne Johnson walked in carrying the tray to tell Luke he had won a national award for courage. Then Johnson did the part the cameras nearly missed. He sat on the sofa and just talked with him, long after the recording had stopped. But if you want the one moment that holds all of this in a single frame, go back to the very start of 2017. Marlene Rodriguez is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. She deployed to Iraq 3 times. She survived 2 roadside bomb blasts that left her with a traumatic brain injury and chronic seizures. And one of those blasts killed a soldier serving under her command. She thought she was doing a simple interview about her charity work. Johnson surprised her. And then he walked her outside to a bright yellow muscle car, custom-built, hers to keep. But Marlene did not celebrate. She broke down. And through the tears, she said the thing that survivor's guilt makes people say, "I don't deserve all this. My soldier does. He gave his life." And this is the moment that tells you who Dwayne Johnson actually is. He did not hand her a hollow line. He did not look away. He just gently said, "Don't you think he'd want to see you rolling in this? Having fun?" He turned a gift into permission. Permission to feel joy again without it feeling like a betrayal of the man she lost. That is the whole thing, right there. It was never about the car. It was never really about the fame. It was about a man using everything he has to tell another human being, you are allowed to be the hero of your own life. Now, here is the honest part. Because he is trusted this much, his face gets stolen constantly. There are fake videos with an AI version of his voice promising people easy money that does not exist. There are whole interviews invented and printed that he never gave. There are even cruel hoaxes that surface every couple of years claiming he has died. None of it is real, but it points at something true. You only bother forging the signature of someone people already believe in. The scams work precisely because, when Dwayne Johnson says he will show up for you, people believe he actually will. So what do people make of all this? One camp sees a man who never forgot. The kid who slept on couches. The one who got cut and walked away with $7 and the memory of exactly how it feels to have nothing. They see someone who gives the way almost no star does. Not anonymous checks from a safe distance, but his own truck, his own time, his own sweat inside a mascot suit in the Florida heat. As one of them put it, plenty of famous people are kind for the camera, but very few actually show up at your door. The other camp is more skeptical. They point out that these surprises are filmed with several cameras produced by his own company, and that every tear conveniently shines a light back on the brand, the tequila, the clothing line. And they have one real example to stand on. In 2023, after the Maui wildfires, Johnson and Oprah Winfrey put millions of their own dollars into a relief fund. Then they posted a video asking the public to chip in too. People living paycheck to paycheck were furious that two of the richest people alive were passing the hat. The backlash was brutal. And here is what the skeptics tend to leave out. Johnson did not get defensive. He went back on camera and owned it. He said he understood that he had lived paycheck to paycheck himself, and that the last thing you want when money is tight is a rich person asking for more of yours. He took the hit and apologized. Maybe both camps are right. Maybe the cameras are good for business and the moments are still real. Both can be true at once. But here is what I keep coming back to. You can fake a check. You cannot fake the face of a combat veteran being told it is okay to feel joy again. You cannot fake a grown man shaking in a theme park, or a sick kid frozen with his mouth open, or an old friend crying on the hood of a truck 3 decades late. Whatever the motive behind the camera, those moments happen to real people, and those people will carry them for the rest of their lives. It is not the fame that breaks them. It is being truly seen by the one person they never imagined would see them. So I want to know what you think. Do you see a genuinely big-hearted man who never forgot where he came from, or a brilliantly built brand that knows exactly how to make us feel? And does it even matter if the person on the other end of it walks away changed forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments and I will catch you all in the next one.